Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video, a couple months actually, but it's a new year and I've been working on some things I want to share with you. So we'll start off with these two tanks. I've lowered the water on them and added some moss and wood and different plants. The idea is to make I don't think it's called a vivarium, but it is I don't know, some type of vivarium. And it has different moss. I have some baby tears growing on the land and in the water. Most of it is semi-aquatic. I've got some, I have an air plant up there too. And it's really cool. A lot of this moss I actually got locally, so a lot of it's doing really well. There's actually a couple different kinds in there. I've put a couple little tiny fish in here. I didn't want to put too many when I start out tanks just because it can get kind of gunked up pretty quick with how much nutrients is leaching from the soil. But there's one little Medaka. I think I have like 3 in here. There might be 3. Let's see if we can see them. And I apologize, the water is dirty. What I usually do when I start a video is I'll clean all the tanks and make it look nice and good before I start, but I just wanted to throw a video out there, so this kind of gives you guys an idea of what I've been doing. But I'm really starting to like these little shallow tanks. I don't know why. It's like a little chunk of rainforest, and there's something so like pleasing about opening that and seeing all the green. I do need to get better tops. I've been using just plastic to cover it. The idea is to keep it at about 100% humidity. I am having a problem with fungal gnats or fruit flies or something, but you can see them buzzing around. I do want to try, I've been thinking about getting dart frogs so that I can have them eating the little flies in here, because they would love that. I do have isopods, which are eating a lot of the decaying plant matter, which I haven't had an issue with. The tanks all smell just like if you would go out in the woods and smell just like dirt and soil and water. But everything in this tank's also doing really well. There's not much I can add more to this because it's only, I think, a 10-gallon tank. But yeah, I've pretty much got it balanced out with a little tiny ecosystem. And then these tanks, so you guys can notice I took off the top plants. That was a long time ago. And I've pretty much put every plant that I've taken off back into the tank. So these tanks look very green and yellow. But most of that is the glass. And I did turn these into Walstad tanks, so all this down here is going to be just dirt and soil, which over time, no matter how much you have on top of it, it'll leach into the water and it'll create a little bit of a color. I do change the water out every few weeks. If there are any signs of distress to the fish, or if I see any shrimp that are acting a little erratic, I'll change out the water. But it's pretty much going the way I want it. Again, with the nutrient leach from the soil, you do get a lot of algae growing, which is pretty good. It's a nice problem to have, just because the Medaka really like to nibble on the algae and graze on it. The only problem, as you can see, is it starts to stick onto the glass and it gets really hard to scrape that all off. But I mean, it's just a aesthetic thing. The shrimp also like it. You can see they'll just pick at it all day. And then let's see, the other tank is also like that. So they all kind of look the same, but they're all a little different. This one especially, I do have a couple different plants in each one. Each one does have like a large rock for the shrimp, and then I did add the sponge filters to these just so I have a larger surface area for the shrimp to pick off of. As far as the maintenance goes on these, there isn't too much other than the water changes, because the shrimp and the plants do a really good job of keeping the water parameters at the levels I want them at, which is, around 7.5 pH, and it does vary every time I change it just because of the nutrient leaking. But these 3 tanks, which I think are 5 gallons, they're a lot clearer. You can see how green it is compared to that. So yellowish, and then you got green. That's because these ones are about a year older and they've settled. They are natural dirt, but they've leached all they could, and I mean, if I changed the water on these, it'd be crystal clear. So eventually these ones will get to that point. What else? It's been a while since I've done this. I do have this pool does have quite a few Medaka in it still. I've turned off the heater and the pumps just because I'm moving stuff around. Let's see if we can find any. And I've kind of been farming duckweed, as you can see. Well, there's a couple in there, you can see them. But yeah, I've been learning a little bit more about duckweed, and I've been trying to implicate it into creating a feed for my fish. So I do need to scoop out about half of this. But I do have quite a few adult Medaka in this one. And then, as you guys remember, this little one was for my small little itty bitty fry that I've grown quite a bit. I've thrown a couple adults in here just because I needed them to start feeding off of the... I've got a couple, I don't know what they're called, but they're almost like water fleas. They're harmless, but the little ones aren't big enough to eat them, so I threw a couple big ones in there. But everyone's doing great. The colors are starting to come out. I have a ton of platinums in here. I've got a couple that have a few deformities that I will have to pick out, but not too many, which is awesome. So once I get those all separated, it'll look a lot better. But these guys are doing great. I haven't really lost any of them, and they're all being, showing signs of being healthy, and they're growing quite large. And I've even seen a couple eggs in here from the larger ones, so I threw a couple sponges in there to collect them. As far as the other pools, I'm kind of just keeping them on standby. There's not too much with them. I don't have too many Medaka in the others, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Not too much to update on. I'm going to empty these guys out, clean the glass, clean up the water, refill, same with this, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like, but it'll probably look a lot cleaner here in a minute. So see you in a second. Okay, here's a quick update. I cleaned the front glass of all the tanks, and I've taken half the water out. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to wipe off all this duckweed that's kind of clean to the side and on the filter. I'll probably... Well, there's not too much I'm going to do with these other than admire them. But yeah, these are all looking okay. I'm going to clean the pipes. They're a little dirty. They have some algae on them. I don't know if I showed you guys this. It's really dirty back here, so forgive me for that. But I've hooked up these with modified bottles and a a wave maker, so that I can have more aeration on my tanks to get more oxygen in them, and that's just to help the plants take off a little more. And it has worked. I did a little bit without it, and the growth rate was still quick, but it wasn't as quick as with them. So I'm going to keep doing that. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update on where I'm at with that, and I'm going to keep going. Alright, there we go. All the tanks are nice and filled up, nice and clean. No more duckweed overcrowding it. The last thing I have to do, which I'll probably film tomorrow, is a time lapse of me just trimming down the plants a little bit. But everything's pretty much where I want it. My next video will be the start of the setup for my Medaka breeding, so you guys can kind of see how I make my my egg catchers and how I incubate and the precautions I take. So I'll share that with you guys on the next video. So yeah, thanks for watching.